appropriations will go to the National Assembly. Maybe we should take it from the beginning. He talked about setting up that advisory committee, inaugurated them before making that statement. Having heard all of this, what do you think? Where do you think this is headed?
Well, I think with due respect to the president, he erred because the terms of reference that he gave to that committee embodied, in fact, what he announced, because they are supposed to guide the conduct, to lay down the modalities, advise on the structure, advise on the timeline, inclusive of the mode. So the president sort of jumped the gun. And
at what point did he err?
By coming out after he had set up the committee to say that their recommendations would go to the National Assembly. He shouldn't have, because he should have awaited the committee's report, particularly in that respect, because he had already enjoined them to look at all the factors surrounding the conference. And one of the reasons, those who suspected the president's motives, you know, that could you really trust Mr. President? What are his motives? And he had already given an indication that, well, there may be some problem of trust here, because if he's already coming to conclusion, almost guiding the committee on what to do.
Wait a minute. If you're talking about the question of trust, how does that come to bear, or what kind of bearing will it have on the conference if you don't trust his decision to set up that advisory committee to let Nigerians talk about what they want? Is it that he has the final say? If you don't trust him, can he thwart the whole process, or what?
Well, but if you look at the history of conferences in this country, I'm talking of the post-coup conferences, not the conferences held under the British. You will see that the government had always had a very prominent role to play. They had always changed decisions. They had always nominated people into the conference. Now, in this particular case, the worry is this, that ab initio, the president must show a genuine intention, a genuine concern for holding a dialogue. Nigerians had been asking for a dialogue, and they are just not asking. It is because nothing is working in our country. People are genuinely concerned that there is a need to certainly restructure, make the central government less powerful than it is. And once there is this clamor for a dialogue, and he himself had come to realize that unless there is that dialogue, there is no way you can keep the keel of the country straight.
In terms of the yardstick to judge the intention of a person or the president when he said this was going to happen, should that yardstick be the words that he's spoken or the action?
Well, one thing is this. We must give him credit for setting it up at all, that the committee to advise him on the modalities, which is to show that, well, there's a realization that there's a need, and for the first time somebody is coming out to admit that there's a need. But then don't forget that Abacha said there was a need, but then the motive was, of course, to transmute him into a civilian president from being a military general. Now, Obasanjo said there was a need, but then it was tied to the third term. And people are suspecting now that, well, perhaps the president is coming out because of the troubles he's having in his party.
That's speculative.
That's speculative. But again, in all of this, you have to speculate, because all we are doing is planning the future of our country. And in planning, you look at figures, you look at, possibilities, perceptions, and all that.
In terms of that, I mean, some say, yes, it's speculative, but they can't dismiss it with a wave of hand. But they also said, because we had a member of Afenifere Renewal Group who also said, look, well, whatever they... Afenifere, okay. He said, Yes, you may suspect or doubt the intention, but let us seize the moment.
Oh, of course. In fact, in our own public position, we said even in spite of the doubts, in spite of the suspicion, it would be the duty of Nigerians to come out heavily to ensure that the conference holds, that the committee is guided into doing the right thing, and that the committee is pressurized into doing the right thing. And then when they submit their report, that the president is pressurized into doing the right thing. We will have a responsibility now that now the gin is out of the bottle. It is our duty to ensure that all the necessary steps are appropriate to having a conference.
Okay. Does the Afenifere Renewal Group have anything that can be referred to as a common position on this conference?
No, actually, there are two stages now. The stage at which we are is preparing for the conference, to recommend on what kind of conference, who goes there and all that. Of course, when it comes to the issue of a conference proper, now as far back as many years now, more than 10 years now, the Yoruba people have met at various fora and eventually came out with what they call the Yoruba agenda, or what we call the Yoruba agenda. And in the Yoruba agenda, it contains, of course, the participation at that level involved the traditional rulers, political leaders, civil society groups, women groups, and they came out with specific recommendations as to what would make this country a great country, but would also ensure that every participating region or every federating unit will have the autonomy to, conduct their affairs in a way that is beneficial to their people. But of course, the Yoruba agenda spoke eloquently about the need to have a strong country, but a country in which every federating unit can determine their pace of growth, their pace of development, and run their affairs. And we already have that document. It's been in circulation for more than 7, 8, 10 years now, as we speak. And it's the same, and it remains the same.
Going back to what you said about the president's comment on, the outcome of the recommendations of that committee going to the National Assembly, some people said that the president spoke out of the need to find a legal solution to what he foresees might be a problem in terms of what the outcome of that committee will be. Do you see him, like kind of quagmire?
The terms of reference that he gave to them, 6 and 7, spoke about the legal framework. And he should have waited for them to explore what the legal framework could be. And there are many ways of looking at it. But then, even when you talk of constitution making, at the end of the day, we always say, we the people, we speak of sovereignty, but the sovereignty lies with the people, not with the National Assembly that arrogates to itself, or the executive that says we are sovereign. No.
But the sovereign, I think, have given their sovereignty already.
No, the sovereign is always left with the people, because, I mean, that is why regularly you have to go back to renew the sovereignty. Even if they have not given their sovereignty, what they have given is their mandate for these people to go there and make laws, go there and run the country.
To act on their behalf, essentially.
To act on their behalf,
so
essentially.
If they're going to be acting on our behalf, I mean, can't we extend the things that they're acting on?
But the people of the country are saying, no, this is an area where they cannot even be trusted to act on our behalf. I mean, we have seen up till today, if you have a National Assembly that is acting for you, you must know what they are earning. You must know how they are run. But it's almost run like a cult. You cannot.
If we don't know,
yes,
does it invalidate donating a certain part of our
sovereignty
to them?
I mean, the people may then decide that this is too much important a task to let them act upon. And in any case, if they have been that capable, and over the years, let's even take it from 1999, I want to say that there is no single month